Hey, what's up, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. So if you clicked on this video, it's probably because either you're interested in forming a healthy daily spiritual practice, connecting to your angels, to your guides, or to the lunar cycles, learning about biblical divination. So I have here the second edition of the Angel Lunar Planner. We will get to that in a moment. And for others, you may have came here because you wanted a little bit of information on how to start your own journal or publish your own book. So I'll give a couple tips at the end of the video to help you guys out as well. If you are new here, I am Minister Ashley. I'm a prophetess, a candle maker, a healer, and an author. So thank you so much for stopping by. So let's get right into it. Everything in this book is supported by scripture. That was not the case with the first edition of the Angel Lunar Planner. I have that here. That was my first copy. I have a video going over this book listed down below, or either you can find it somewhere in the cards. If you do have the first edition, thank you so much for your support. I have to say that this one is the better edition. Edition 2. The main thing that really sets this apart from anything is that it's supported by scripture. Everything in here is supported by scripture, and that was not going to be the case. I was sitting on the couch and I was just thinking about some notes, and then instantly I heard the divine spirit say, add scriptures, add supporting scriptures. And that's exactly what I did. And I knew as soon as I heard that, the first thing that I felt was, it's going to take me forever to find supporting scriptures for everything in here. So a lot of the things that are in here, you can find it on the back of the book. I felt that it was important to have not just because the divine spirit, informed me, yes, you need to add this to the planner, but it was also important because with my audience and my primary purpose is to help people ascend and connect to their divine purpose. And my personal modality is not just alchemy and tarot, but it's also the Bible. And many people have the misconception that there is not divination or magic in the Bible. It's really important for me to have everything backed by scripture, that if anyone had a shadow of a doubt, I would have scriptures to back that up. Myself included, I have been on this path. I come from a traditional church background, and many of the people that are part of my audience, they're in a similar position where they're transitioning out of religion and they're embarking on their spiritual purpose, their spiritual path. So having supporting scriptures was very important for me. So it required thousands of women labor hours. I will say that this one, the first one, it was very intense. I had to form a lot of the ideas, a lot of the content that's centered around the value that I wanted to offer to the audience and to the reader, the consumer. But this one was like 3 times as much work. The scriptures, they're not direct from the different translations, etc. So it required for me to do a lot of research, and I gotta say, I'm very proud of it. I changed the format. So I have a brief rundown of what's entailed in here. Then I have the months. I have 2022 and 2023. So in my system, and this is the esoteric principle, that the real new year starts in Aries season around the spring equinox. So that was already a difference in the Western culture, as we have the new year that starts in January. So my system is a little different. That's why I go from 2022 to 2023. The same thing that I had in the first edition, the top 30 master list. That's where you write down your top 30 desires that you really want to obtain in the next 10 years and maybe even over a lifetime. From there, you list the top 10 that you want to focus on for this year. Each month starts off with a breakdown of that month, which includes about the season. There's 12 seasons, starting with Aries season, the force. That's the spark that lights the rocket to propel you through the 12 months. That's a fire energy. I have the verb I am. And you have a space over here for each month to write your one word, your one power word. Here I have I am powerful. you could write whatever word really resonates with you for that season. I have a bit about the anatomy, the herbs, the stones, the traits of the season, and the angels of that season, as well as the tarot card. Another thing I added on is the suggested divination. So divination for the month, for the whole season, something that you can work with if you so choose to help you learn a little bit more about divination. List down your goals, and then I have the full and new moon and any prominent astrological events that are happening throughout that month. The monthly oracle spread. For each full and new moon, I have journal prompts, the Sabian symbol, and a little extra information. Each one of the equinoxes and the solstices, for to help you plan out ahead of time and keep track of what you have improved on, what you need to improve on, and it really helps with your spiritual growth. With the daily habit tracker, I reduced the size and I made it a little simpler. The ritual of the day, the astrological events, that is your personal space for you to write down astrological events that you feel are important to you, that you can gain understanding. It could be a cycle in the astrological events that you can pick up on that will help you to master something or to help give you additional insight. The card of the day and additional cards, if you choose to use that form of divination, you can use runes, you can, pretty much write whatever you want to write right there. And then your ritual of the day. And that's good to know too, because when you, instead of having like your magical journal, you can keep it here because you can check off what did you do that day. Did you pray? Did you study a certain thing? Did you meditate, etc.? And you can keep track of the ritual that you performed on that day if you did perform one, and you write it down here. You can always make reference to it later on to see how that played out weeks down the line, days down the line, even years down the line. A note to yourself before you go to bed, like at night, what signs, what synchronicities popped up for you. Questions you can even ask yourself before you go to sleep. A lot of things that you can do with your daily habit tracker. So I'm going to take you inside of the Angel Lunar Planner. And this was in the front of the book, and it was bigger and it was broken down differently. The 8-part cycle from release, implant, etc., all the way around. I incorporated the Sabbaths along with the holidays. In each one of those seasons that are broken down, the eight seasons, the 8 Sabbaths. Here we have the spiritual tools. Now everything is backed by scripture, and I have all of the spiritual tools, the correspondence. I have what a sigil is and how to do it, candles, and I have a crystal glossary right here. And the ones that have a star, that's for the ones that were in the breastplate of righteousness. Types of divination. Now I do have a PDF download if you just want only that, but I have the different divinations, and it's not all of them. It's like about 25 of them. Go into the days of the week, which are important to tap into that energy, because you can work with a different angel, gain different information while using those angels. And I have colors. You can pair those with colors, the different candles, the days of the week. Then I have the zodiac. And this one I really like with the angels, because I have a glossary of angels here, the glossary of the angels, and that's with the zodiac. And then I have the glossary of the angels using your tarot cards, because you can use your tarot cards, and that is a way of how you can work with that angel. Now I added on a glossary of herbs and oils, because you can take your herbs and oils and bless them and use them in your practice. Now I have all of these herbs. I don't even know how many herbs and oils and spices that backed by scripture. Then I have the angels and Psalms, 12 universal laws. Now, the 12 universal laws are important to know. Everything is built on those 12 universal laws, and they all are found in scriptures. So I have all of those listed that you can use in your practices. Meditation, the different types of meditation backed by scripture, prayers backed by scripture, different types of fasting, and tips. And cleanliness is next to godliness. I know they would say that, and then I was like, no, that's not in the Bible. But however, it is true, because esoterically, you are able to see opportunities better. You are more organized, like your mind. Everything is organized, because spirits can also cling to clutter. All right, so anyways, so I have a lot about clearing, like clearing your energy, clearing your space, and then I have rituals that are backed by scripture. Extra space for you to write extra notes. And I also have, I moved the sigil space, I moved the sigil space because it was like, I just moved it to the back. I think it was just better to move it to the back, and that way you can fold this page over, and every night that you go, before you go to bed, you could gaze into your sigil, and that is almost like a prayer. So some tips for future authors, or for those that are looking to publish their book. First, make sure that you brainstorm your idea. You may be like me. I have went through the process many times of setting up the framework, and then when I got to working, then other ideas would come, or I would tweak it and hone it. I had to go through that process back and forth. It was an unorthodox format, so don't feel like you have to stick to how other people may create. If you are in that creative flow, that is the best way to go. That's a quote. Starting the framework of the idea, doing the graphics, starting to do the writing, the research, and it would just flow. Like, I had to build a flow of going back and forth, back to the drawing board, tweaking this a little bit, and then getting a little bit of the actual work done. So it all equaled to getting the job done. But you can give yourself a time frame, and you can give yourself a schedule, whether it is every day for 5 minutes, an hour, whether it is grouping it all together once a week, 3 hours, however it feels best for you. If you feel like you have writer's block or anything's blocked, take a break. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to force it. You want to get into flow, because when you get into flow, literally, it's like nonstop until after the flow dies down. But you really want to get into that flow, because that's where the best creative ideas come from. If you have an idea, don't be afraid to step out there and start to work on your idea. Whether you share it with friends or family, or get advice from other people, you can look up anything that may be pertaining to your topic. There's plenty of blog sites, videos, posts everywhere. As we live in the digital age, that's right there at your fingertips. If you can't get a graphic designer, that's great. You can find one on Fiverr. Fiverr is a great place. I have gotten some graphics from there, not really so much with the book, but like digital graphics. You can hire someone like that. There's plenty of freelancer websites that you can find designers and other qualified individuals that can help you. You can even obtain a ghostwriter. I mean, the ideas are just limitless. You can also hire and find a researcher. I did all of that myself online. Online is your best friend. Tutorials, best friend. And another resource that I used was Canva. Canva is a great resource. Like, I've used it for both of my decks, for the first edition as well as for the second edition. And with the premium, this video is not sponsored, by the way. With the premium, you can house all of your content, all of your templates there. You also have access to a myriad of templates, fonts, colors, images, everything. You can find it on Canva. The platform that I used to publish my book is Amazon publishers. And my experience with them has been pretty good. After you have written your book, of course, you have to have a certain amount of pages, measure it in the bleed space, And once you upload it, well, first you download, make it a PDF. When you upload it, it will let you know if you need more pages, if it fits inside of the print space. If you want it to be a ebook, they also have that option there for you. It's a really good resource because everybody knows about Amazon. Everything is found on Amazon, free shipping. I mean, you know, it's really a no-brainer. But there are other publishing platforms out there. I just prefer to use Amazon. Customer service experience was a little shaky the first time just because that was the pandemic around that time when I published the first one. So it was a delay. Another thing, you want to order author copies because your author copy it's a tangible one that you can hold in your hand, but you can also review graphics, how they come out, any typos, and you can see how it actually looks and how it feels to you if this is something that you want to stick with. They also offer a hard copy. So ordering your author copies will let you know what your client or what the publisher will see when you send it in, either if you're submitting it to a publisher or either if you are selling these or giving them as presents to friends and family. You want to have a hard copy for yourself. Plus it also feels very, very good holding something that you have created in your hand. One thing that I did notice that I needed to change a little bit of the graphic. That's why I love having author copies. I also use it, you know, for my own spiritual practice too. I do everything like on my iPhone just because like I'm busy all the time. I don't like sitting down in front of the computer. Sometimes I want to go outside, out running errands, and I may be waiting on my car to be serviced, waiting for them to bring up the groceries, whatever it may be. I may be at the park. Can do editing while I'm there on my phone, and it's so much easier instead of sitting in front of the computer. When I would do graphics before, this is even before I started the ministry, when I would do graphics, when I would do writing, editing, even when I was doing art, sitting in front of the computer was very stressful because like I was confined to the desk. You can use an iPad. I think that is also a good resource. You don't have to have an actual computer to write your book. Something I would do differently next time. I think honestly, this time around, I did a lot better than the first time. However, I would keep the same template. That's another great thing about Canva is that you have your templates, and with your templates, you can always copy and reuse them for the next task or just reuse the same template. As far as like my process, I wouldn't really do anything else differently. It pretty much is what I want, and it came out wonderfully. But I always like, before I start a project, I always like to immerse myself in other people's content that they have already conceived the idea and they're working through the idea, or either they have already worked through that idea. And what would they do differently next time? Or just watching them go through the process, and like really soaking up that energy that will help guide that flow. Like you could have a whole lot up here, but it's a whole process taking what's up here and putting it down to paper, whether you're just doing a novel or either if you're doing a planner, a journal, an illustrated book, taking all of that creativity and putting it onto paper. It's a task. So having some direction, having a couple people that you can either talk to or either you can look up and find what they recommend you could do in that situation. Like if you're stuck on a problem and you need a solution, that you can find it on the internet. You can find some other people that you can maybe follow how they did their process. That always helps. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, just leave them down below. You can reach out to me on any social media platform. If I see your question, then I may respond to you in a video to help other people, or either I may just personally respond to you. You can find the Angel Lunar Planner on Amazon, listed down below. And if you are not interested in purchasing the entire book, you can always find the monthlies that I will post here that you can download, and you can just work with that energy for the month. Please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, and join if you have not joined. And also make sure that you do hit the notification bell so you can receive notifications whenever we post over here. I thank you so much for tuning in. Be blessed, be abundant, and I will talk to you on the next one.